This is recommended by Yuko. One of the videos recommended by Yuko. I have no idea what this is about. I have no idea what we're in for. Yeah, Dagon review. A special Dagon review. I don't know what to expect from this. The thumbnail alone is making me worried a little bit, but also intrigued. Like, set the scene. Oh god. Oh fuck. What are we in for, Yuko? What are we in for? What are we in for here? Alright. Let's just get into whatever this is. What did Yuko do to us now? What is happening right now? What is happening right now? Like, is it stuck on the thumbnail, or is that just a thing? Okay, I was worried for a second. I was like, did I break YouTube again? Oh god, this is gonna be... Okay. This is gonna be a fucking trip, ain't it? This is definitely not PG-13.
Greetings, gentle viewers, and we're back with Stuart Gordon and H.P. Lovecraft.
And no Jeffrey Combs!
No Jeffrey Combs? That can't be right!
No,
Oh,
it
God.
isn't right. No Jeffrey Combs is never right, but it happened. Good thing they cloned him, destroyed many failed
The
clones by a
traumatization.
flamethrower, and then got the only successful one
A
to
little.
star in this. This was originally intended to be Stuart Gordon's follow-up to Reanimator. It would have starred Combs and Crampton and probably would have been amazing, but they couldn't rustle up the budget and instead went with a cheaper film about the pleasures of interdimensional flesh. Then years later, Brian Usna set up a production company in Spain called The Fantastic Factory. Usna had worked with Stuart Gordon many times over the years, and their styles are so similar that I pretty much view them as a double act.
Sometimes I call them
Yeah,
Gordon
you have to
Usna,
admit though, like,
because I'm a
compared to today's horror movies, like, the older horror movies, even the campy, even the trashy ones, even the bad ones, have a certain charm to them compared to a lot of the horror movies of today. Because, I don't know, it just kind of, a lot of them are, these days, they find one thing that works and then they just copy and paste it until they don't make money off it anymore, and it's just a lot of the older horror stuff just has a certain charm.
adorable.
Fantastic Factory's deal was to make horror and horror-adjacent films in English, using a mix of local and international talent, and they were reasonably successful. They made 9 films in 5
Damn.
years before closing up shop, including Faust,
all these
Love of
people
the
with their
Damned,
stares.
which I took the piss out of years back. Anyway, Fantastic Factory opened the doors to produce Dagon, based on Lovecraft's Shadow over Innsmouth. Though, not Lovecraft's Dagon, because naming stuff is hard. The action's been moved from the New England town of Innsmouth to the Spanish town of Imboca.
It means in mouth, because they're very clever.
We open underwater. At
They're
least
all
that's what
very
the subtle
clever.
light show and shimmery text
Let's
is
clap for the
telling me.
cleverness.
Our star,
Quiver.
Paul Marsh, is diving. He's discovered Mariana's vagina. It's ribbed on the inside for his pleasure. Now, in my experience, few good things ever come from giant undersea eyes, though undersea tits are the obvious exception. Is his subconscious sabotaging his own very wet dreams? He's been having that nightmare.
I always
every
love how
night
women
since
in
I put
movies
anchored
wake up
here.
like with a
Imboca might
full
be
beat.
small, but it can broaden-
Also, I'm pretty sure I've seen this movie. but I think I only saw bits and pieces of it when it was like rerunning on TV. So I haven't watched the entire thing, but I think I remember seeing bits and pieces. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but this looks and kind of sounds familiar.
Cast foreshadowing into people's subconscious like a motherfucker. Okay, maybe not motherfucker. Sisterfucker. Oh, morning has blowjobs like the first moaning. White bird has swallowed.
Oh God.
Like the first
Can we not?
bird. Her name's Eve.
Can we not?
Raise for the sucking. Raise for the morning. Raise for its springing. Fresh from his pants.
I don't find any of this enjoyable.
Oh, fuck you. I wrote a song and everything.
Can't you just
Yeah,
lie
that
back
is
and think of
pretty
New England?
rude.
I feel like everything's changed all at once.
You had an erection, your IQ dropped about 78%. Of course everything looks different.
Of course it's changed. We're fucking rich.
Last I saw, you were failing to be sucking rich. Paul's a stockbroker or a shares guy or something, so he's probably a cunt. You know, this is a very small boat for a whole camera crew and 4 people with more money than God. Though not literally, because Dagon is rich as fuck. And yeah, I said 4 people. It's not Combs and not Crampton, and their older friends should have been Combs and should have been Crampton. There is an awful lot of character nonsense that I'm not even going to pretend to care about. Like Paul's girlfriend throwing his laptop overboard because of the dick.
There! Now the stock is underwater.
What did you do?
Well, it looks to me like she made quite a good pun. Doubly impressively, given that English
I'd be
is not her
pissed
first
too, though,
language.
because
Remember when we used to fight like that?
those
Dan?
kind of laptops,
Except I would have thrown you overboard.
they cost a pretty penny.
Would have been cheaper.
Whatever bad things happen to these people are well deserved for wasting their fucking rich as balls time hanging out in a tiny boat in the middle of a nondescript part of the Mediterranean. They could have been building a hyperloop, curing cancer, or funding Reanimator 4. The plot's in no hurry to start itself, so the people of Imba could call a storm using the power of music.
That's all we need. Singing nuns.
Let's say we've got a storm coming up.
Well, that's foreboding.
So the balls
Swing
are
them
weapon.
into a
Yeah, those
forcibly placed
those
large rock.
older laptops,
The
they
boat's
had
been
some.
crippled, and the old woman's
They had
leg
some
is
oomph.
somehow pinned between a rock and a literal hard place. What are the chances of that happening? Well, 1 in 1 actually, because that's what they wrote and filmed. Probability's funny like that. She'll be stuck there for about 127 hours, and if they don't cut away, I'll spend the whole time laughing.
Funny story, I did that during the real 127 hours too.
Mistress, are you talking about the film or the actual event?
Yes.
Nice.
Come on!
Hey, the impoverished people of this town have better things to do than rescue you. Like make tapas. Float to safety in your money, asshole. As the rescue's clearly not coming, they decide to take a dinghy into town to get help. Oh, they sunscreened her. I guess she's fine then. Get her a cocktail and it's an indoor pool party.
Are we going to die?
Only if the film is very unimaginative. Paul and his girlfriend, who is actually called Barbara because they're as sad as we are that they didn't manage to make this back in the early 80s, run into some trouble.
Damn.
As in something hugely off-screen scrapes against their dinghy and punctures it.
Sprung a leak. Is there anything to bail with?
No, we have to make it to the dock!
Back on the ship, things are looking far more rosy. Especially the water.
There's something in the water.
What?
Very small sharks.
My guess is that it's something very happy. that
Just
the
a
main
little baby shark.
characters have
Just a
finally
little-
left
just a
the
little.
boat so we can have a meal without destroying the plot.
What are they shooting at?
Oh, please don't let it be sharks!
Very small sharks with guns.
How the hell did they hear that gun anyway? It was inside a ship. They're about a mile away, right next to an engine, in the middle of a fucking storm. I'll put it down.
Just
to
a tiny
madness-inducing
little shark
non-Euclidean
with a gun,
acoustics.
some
They make
laser
to
eyes, you know.
And, what's the plural of Cassidus shit heap? As no one's around, they head to the church, or rather, the erotic order of Dagon to get help, and enlist Father Creepy Bastardo.
Right there!
It's right there, behind the wall of CGI. Paul and Barbara need to split up, though, for the purpose of the plot. Equally the films and the evil priests.
Someone has to stay here to inform the police.
I'm not sure I want to leave you with this guy, because he gives me the creeps.
I help Señorita to find the police.
He's not even offended because he knows he gives everyone the creeps.
It makes sense that some of the townspeople speak English. It was originally scripted to take place in the USA, and rewriting the whole script would be a lot of work. Well, if that's the worst thing that happens to you, Stuart
Yeah,
Gordon
I'm pretty
film,
sure-
you probably got off light. So Paul goes back to the boat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen this movie. I just haven't... I don't remember seeing the very beginning, so I probably only saw, like, bits and pieces of after, like, they hit the rock dramatically, and they came ashore to find some help. I think that's where I started watching it, when I was flipping through the channels to find something to watch. If I remember
Barbara
right.
stays to arrange help. Problem is, the town's a swirling vortex of eldritch horror things. So does phone coverage trouble spots. Luckily, she can use one at the hotel.
Sí, Hotel del Mar.
One of the best things about this film is that almost everyone who lives in the town has that distinct imbecile look. It's like the Innsmouth look, but a little less waspy.
A little
they're all
noticeable.
varying degrees of Michael Berryman. And if you know his filmography, you probably won't be surprised that she's gonna have a terrible time.
¡Padre! ¡Me atacó! ¡Padre! ¡Padre!
Well, that went from 0 to gang rape in about 5 seconds.
Damn. Well,
Anyway, through the genius move of realizing that they didn't have the budget to keep it up, Paul's made it through the formerly impregnable wall of CGI and back to the boat.
Howard, Ricky's not back.
Howard?
That clever bastard, he swam away from the film. Well, hopefully they're not suffering
he
a
got
fate
out
worse
while
than
he
death.
could.
Paul sent to the hotel to meet
They found a
Barbara.
ride on
Good thing
the
it's got
baby
some
little
neon
sharks
signage
with
where
the
he spent
guns.
the whole night trying to find it in the overpowering, creepy darkness. And that'll be the locals' plan fucked. Now, you might think that the receptionist has failed to kill himself at least 6 times because of the cuts in his neck, and that would be a fair assumption based on this shithole. But nah, hopefully you already worked this out by now, but those are gill slits, because this town is inhabited by fish people. Evil, evil fish people. As opposed to good or neutral fish people. He finds a lighter on the desk that somehow the least ominous thing he's experienced all day. The receptionist is less than no help, at least partially, probably because he's confused by fire. Seeing as it doesn't exist down where it's better, down where it's wetter, down where Dagon ejaculates all over you.
Just give me a room till she gets back.
Man, Spain sucks. It's like Mexico, but goth. Hey, why is there an actual hotel at all? It probably costs something to run. And anyone stupid enough to stay any length of time in the town is
Yeah,
quickly
that never
grabbed.
makes any
So why
sense when it
bother
comes to
actually running
these
the place?
situations.
Why not?
Like, why is there's always like this horror type scenario where there's this town and like they don't want outsiders, and if an outsider comes in they usually end up dead, you know? What's the point of having a hotel then? Like, just don't have one. Like, I get it if you want to, like, I don't know, blend into the rest of the world so you don't look funny, but a lot of small towns and shit don't have hotels or motels or anything like that. That's actually pretty common. So, this never made sense.
Just have a front. Unless the sea-dwelling fish monsters need somewhere to stay when they lope onto the lands to grab a Big Mac or plot the downfall of the vile human race or something.
Oh!
Lovely. 5 stars.
I don't fucking think so.
You know what he's complaining about? That's pretty good for an Airbnb.
This is like the room in 1408 went senile. Since he's already long past the point when a sensible person would duck the fuck out, he just sits and waits for Barbara. This involves trying to hypnotize himself and dreaming about Mayor Spanish Eliza Dushku again.
Oh god, the CGI.
Outside, he hears a commotion. The townspeople have realized that this is Resident Evil 4 and decided they need to act like it.
To keep up the cliche.
Yes, movie, I agree. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy!
Squeak, squeak!
They've entered the hotel and are very slowly approaching. The outer door is missing a bolt, so pretty cleverly and really quickly he removes the bolt from the bathroom door and installs it on the outer door.
Can I help you?
Of course, given their keen interest in lock destruction, it might have been even smarter and a bit faster to just barricade the door with the bed. There's a short chase to the next equally crappy room before Paul thinks outside the box and tries to commit suicide. Luckily for him, the producers realised that would make a short film and put a mattress down for him to land on. He's also fortunate that Imbica's primary expert is candy glass. I'm guessing the pigskins are on the set or a holdover from the original script when they made American footballs. Oh, wait, no, they're human skin masks. You know, if this wasn't based on something set in America, you'd swear the writer was just really racist against Spanish people. But, to be fair, Lovecraft probably was.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my god, Howard.
Oh no! Oh god, no! The crazy ranting man in the Charlton Heston movie was right! Soylent Leather is people!
Well, he's gonna have to find a new best friend to go into the yard with, just to chuck the old long pigskin around. And he bets they didn't even skin him and that's all that's left after they pulled him through the hole in the boat. Paul lights the place up, which doubtless will help dry the leather. As a thank you, they take pity on him and pretend not to notice him running off using a skin frame as a disguise. After getting away, he runs into Spanish John
no
Rhys
one's
Davies,
noticing he's the only one
Francisco
wearing
Rabal.
bright fucking clothes.
Rabal was a legendary Spanish actor who died shortly after filming this. He also badly needs subtitles, which I might add, but be warned, if I do, they might be fake. Rabal is the only human inhabitant of the town and is always drunk, which doesn't really help with the subtitles thing. Honestly, I'm not sure they didn't just get the poor guy drunk, record his semi-English ramblings, and then edit them together as best they could.
I tell you secret. Open book.
And how do we improve on this? By giving him a voice-over monologue exposition dump. He's gonna tell us what happened to the town, because he was born before.
All that.
When Rabal was a small boy, the fishermen were having trouble making catches until one day Captain Haddock returned from a voyage in the Pacific Ocean. Long way to go for fish. He discovered a new god that could provide fish and gold for the town if they worshipped him instead of the Yahweh nerd. The captains chucked out of the church because Christians hate religious diversity, but called the service on the coast and Dagon, the great off-screen one.
I love how they just make him comically look like the bad guy.
Gold. Pretty soon, almost the entire town is converted to the worship of Dagon, and get the priest so hammered you'd think he just done communion.
Well,
all in all, it's an okay deal for the townspeople. They have a new priest who's a nearly literal rather than figurative dickhead, symbolic genitals they can shank people with, and plenty of fish so they can eat their new relatives.
I mean, I'm not one to judge really, because
never being dry again.
Isn't there a religion where they
stopped being vomited up on the beach? The townspeople started
believe in like
a Dagon. Starting with Rabal's parents.
A spaghetti god alien thing? I don't know.
Faced with a real god that actually does shit. Turning to Dagon and killing who he wants you to kill is completely rational.
That's also a basic overview of the Afghanistan religious education curriculum.
Well,
two possibilities. Either you're drunk, or you're totally fucking insane.
Surely both is a very fair assumption. Over the years, they've tolerated Rabal and his stubborn Christian refusal to turn into a fish, because he's fun to laugh at. I assume it goes something like this. Rabal's god can't swim, so he has to walk on water. Rabal's god has so little sway over the ocean, he's relegated to being the fisher of men. Come on, guys, I'm filled with the Holy Spirit. In this case, vodka.
Not the bullying.
Oh, yeah? Yeah? Well, why did they kill you, huh?
I drink. I look.
Of course, they could be keeping him alive to try and solve the mystery at the heart of the story. Why he didn't fucking leave. He's about 80. This shit's been going on for 70 years.
Yeah, the way I would literally run.
He decided to leave, chose a random place and left, full of dreams, only to find himself in fucking Innsmouth. And decided that if he's going to be menaced by fish monsters, it'll be where he's also not abused by racist shitheels who think he's a Mexican. He has a lot of half-filled bottles in his pocket. I'm guessing they're full of seawater and it's mostly psychosomatic. In the scenes with her Bal, you can only pick up every few lines. It's like an accidental version of Han and Chewie, if Chewie was drunk and wearing Ian McKellen's skin. I mean, that just sounded like he was laughing, but that's ridiculous. I am nowhere near that funny. Unintelligible or not,
Yeah, no, if I was like,
he takes Paul
if
to the only car.
like the forceful change of a religion in a small town happened like that, like, no lie, within the first 24 hours of me seeing all this bullshit happening around me, I don't care how old I am, I'm booking it out of there. I'm getting out of that town before I literally can't. I am booking it. Not sticking around to see the aftermath of that.
It belongs to Mr. Camparo, the grandson of the captain in the flashback. He's the squid and/or kid on crutches.
What the hell is wrong with him?
Way too much Splatoon.
Camparo's transformation is nearly complete. Soon he'll go into the sea to be with Dagon. It's like the Rapture, but apparently real. Rebel drunkenly starts to sing and dance with some of the men guarding the car, giving Paul the chance to try and steal it. Now, I'd usually be complaining that this guy has the ability to hotwire a car from the 40s, but
he kinda doesn't. Now here's the question.
Mistress, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay, Science Minion. It was a shit joke anyway. What's up?
According to my predictions, your comment section is about to be swarmed by people complaining that you haven't mentioned Resident Evil 4.
But I did mention it.
Not enough, I'm afraid. You're about to be swarmed by these half-human, half-fish hybrids that are quite ineffective on their own, but once they're in a crowd, they can be a bit of a bother. Only in comment form.
Oh. Well, thanks for the heads up.
Hail Hagen!
Tell me.
Okay.
Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, a couple of dozen other ones that I've forgotten the names of, and Code Veronica.
Paul makes use of the fact that those two can barely move to escape into Camparo's mansion. The bad guys are searching for him, so logically decides to hide in Camparo's daughter's room. She looks like the girl from See Me Dance if she was high on something other than the lore.
Yeah, her eyeballs are popping. Like, her stare is just... She's staring into your soul.
She's so pretty. Oh, so pretty. Yay, cunt. And by the look of it, the feeling's mutual. For some reason. Now, I do not know shit about men being sexy, but he's a second-hand Jeffrey Combs. He's hardly actual Jeffrey Combs, is he? I know your grandfather, aka the sentient ham, has come calling.
Non fai, non vi ningun.
Only a cheaper knockoff.
So, now that they're alone, things are sure to get steamy. Steamy cause water. I've seen you in my dreams, but you were wetter. Oh, that's what you think.
No, I can't.
Brimming with confidence that her dad won't be back and realizing that as a 5 he's unlikely to do better tonight, he decides to fuck her for the halibut. And while his girlfriend's in peril, the cod. Well, at least your mutations are limited to where he probably won't be looking during the actual fucking. Unless he really likes calamari. I know you were suddenly very worried about your girlfriend, but she's a collection of every fetish known to Japan. Many men would love to legend her overfiend, if you know what I mean. If you can ever work out what bit that is. But nah, he doesn't much care for old LucasArts games, and so says no to Maniac Mansion 2, Night of the Tentacles. And makes a run for it. Right into the chauffeur's combat hug. I love this fight. And it's not the skills of the choreography or anything like that, cause it is neither. It's that both of them are very realistically shit at fighting. After the headbutt, he jumps to kicking the guy in the what were his nuts, and eventually just tries to beat him to death with his phone.
Good thing it's a Nokia, and this film was made in 2001.
No, for real. No, for real though. The older phones, they were fucking weapons, okay? They hit harder than bricks sometimes, is all I'm saying. Because, like, they were actually built not to break. Yeah. Yeah.
getting the biggest sofa.
He gets the car going, but soon gets it stuck on top of one of the townspeople, so he needs to find refuge in a house, where we get another refreshingly shit fight scene. I love this. Both him and the other guy can't fight, but for different reasons. He's a rich asshole who couldn't fight a churro, and the other guy's a fish monster who can't function on dry land. Now, usually a guy in his condition would have gone into the sea by now, but he's staying on land, a place he's very ill-suited for because he still is a humanish kid. Who might be the same actor as the kid in the flashback. And if so, that's baffling. Little touches like this really ram home that this small part of the film is a horror movie in reverse. This guy breaks into a monster's house, threatens his kid, and after a short fight beats him to death. I'm not sure why the monster tried to drown him in the toilet, though. Seems
I mean,
impractical when he's a whole floor
they just like to show off their nasty-ass toilets, it looks like.
Spunk vodka than actual water, though, so maybe he just didn't want to poison him. Fate worse than death and all that.
Oh, he beat him to death with a fucking sound effect.
Not the sound effect.
Look at his
Murderer.
face. That's a micro I Am Legend ending shit there. And I mean the book. Oh, here's some irony. His cop is a manor fish. Man-er-fish. It's like fisherman but reversed. Oh, forget it. The joke's shit anyway.
Writer me, I really have to agree with voiceover me. That was a shit joke. Shut the fuck up! That was amazing!
Why did you script me having second thoughts about it?
Yeah, it sounds like you didn't have your heart in it. It was the best joke of the episode. Fisherman/manor fish. It writes itself. Nah, you still think it's shit. And I know this because you're still writing us complaining about how it's shit. Because it's shit. Listen, I've got this whole thing worked out, and you're derailing it!
No, we're not. You're writing the episode, including this.
Listen, I write every episode and I got bored, okay? I never get to appear unless I write this random shit. And now that everyone's confusion has reached a
I love how
fucking
this is.
crescendo, I'm gonna write
I love how this is just like a representation of people everywhere.
a beard?
Well,
Of people everywhere just
that was
arguing with
weird.
themselves every fucking 5 minutes.
I think she's gone.
Did she at least leave a script?
It says the writer's gone for a smoke, and if I change anything, I'll die.
Oh great, I've suddenly been scripted to sing the entirety of Monty Python's Drunken Philosopher's song. Emmanuel Kant was a real pissant, it was very, very
Well,
stable.
shite.
I think he was a boozy beggar, could think you under the table. David Hume could out-consume Friedrich Hegel. And Wittgenstein was a beery swine who was just a schloster Schlegel. There ain't nothing Nietzsche couldn't teach about the raising of the wrist. Socrates himself was permanently pissed.
I didn't know all the words, but it was worth it.
Didn't scripture the ability to sing?
Socrates himself was particularly missed. Love it, I'll think about a bug when he's pissed. Oh, well, that was weird. Told you you'd die.
Now,
The drama.
ask you, how better to represent unconsciousness than by attempting to drown a camera? Paul finally wakes
The poor
up in a makeshift
camera.
prison with Barbara, who, from the look of it, still has her skin attached, and Francisco Rabal, who'd look much the same if they removed his skin.
I am like you now.
American or sober?
They're not the only ones there. Vicky, aka Older Not Crampton's wailing in the corner. She's missing her leg. My guess is that it was ballast and she flew to shore after ejecting it. Anyway, since her problem's on the boat, she's got to know Dagon.
Oh God! It's inside me!
They gave Dagon.
What does that mean?
He fucked her.
He fucked the acting ability right out of her and replaced it with his babies.
My leg!
They must have given you drugs for the pain and...
I agree, movie. Drugs
No,
are the only rational
no.
explanation for that performance.
It was a dream.
It's no dream.
Hey, if you can't believe a drunk
No.
being raped by a god, then who can you believe? I ask you.
This is OnlyFans that should not be happening.
That laugh. Being an exhausted guy, an elderly drunk, and a woman with few discernible characteristics. But they're soon defeated by a mix of numbers and the Sonya Blade effect, as Barbara becomes totally useless the second her hair is pulled. Half the people in this town look like they're wearing Richard O'Brien masks, and the other half look vaguely jealous. The priest's victory speech is so boring that it drives Vicky to commit suicide. She'll sleep with the fishes no more. I love the look on the priest's face. It's like, lady, that is a bit of an overreaction. Paul and Rabal are taken to be skinned because that's fun. And you can really tell Rabal comes from Imboka. It looks like a pregnant orca.
Damn.
A check now.
Damn.
$1 million. $10 million if you let us go, and the woman.
Dude, have you seen the exchange rate lately?
We have 1,000 times that in
euros. Well, gold knives. I wonder how much time they spend bending them on victims.
Yeah, wouldn't gold make horrible weapons though?
Now I'm imagining Dagon.
I'm guessing it's like magical bullshit.
Crying one solitary tear because even in his own movie it's Cthulhu that gets his chant sung. And then crying another solitary tear when he realizes that crying is useless because he's at the bottom of the fucking ocean. What follows is why no one goes to Spain for plastic surgery, as Rabal's face is cut into a mask and then peeled off. I particularly like the masochist who's trying to mind meld with him as it happens.
God damn!
Very much like peeling a large man's face. It's no skin off their back, but an Imboka fish fillet you!
Do it.
He stopped from killing Paul, though, because Princess Hispanic Angela Bettis would find him 2% less fuckable without a face. Which is fair enough. Here's the deal. He's gonna stay with her, and Barbara's gonna be given to Dagon.
Fuck Dagon!
Yes.
I'll do whatever you want. Please, let her go.
Unless you're really into tentacle pegging, that's not a promise you want to make to a woman with cocks longer than your legs, dude. Paul's the kind of guy who doesn't know when to give up, so as soon as she leaves, he grabs some knives and kills the fuck out of the priest and his Hushin man. A Hushin is a kind of fish. Sounds a bit like hench. Shut up, I'm a genius.
Come on, motherfucker.
These knives are now your lesbian parents, and they fuck deep. He heads to the church with a can of petrol to rescue Barbara. You know, the symbol for Dagon looks like the Sword of Omens crossed with a really hardcore sex toy. In the caves under the church, they're in full-on ritual mode, carving up Barbara so Dagon's magic spunk has more places to inseminate her, and dancing like idiots.
This is no. No.
My guess is
this is a party you don't want to be invited to.
Looks like. Ocular Giganta is dressed like the Pope if the Catholic Church was very into spiky turds and Liberace.
YouTube?
This is what stupid people think S&M looks like. Ocular Giganta is dressed like the Pope if the Catholic Church was very into spiky turds and Liberace. It's like the girl from
YouTube went weird there for a second.
Look a little bit less like a religious psycho than usual.
You will burn for fucking eternity!
We will live for eternity, and so will your child.
So Barbara's dropped into Dagon's watery fuckhole as Paul arrives, ready to righteously set some shit alight. These poor bastards, a whole life spent living in this shithole, mutating into who knows what, and then probably days before immortality they get set on fire by fucking tourists. I like how he actually only set one guy on fire, but he ran around and set the others alight.
YouTube was like, what are we watching right now? Are you okay?
Because it's fire. I also like how they managed to run around on fire, screaming, and don't even fall into the pit by accident. Paul manages to rescue Barbara, but it's too late. She's covered in Dagon's oily love goodness. Though, she might have just fucked Armis from Skin of Evil, and the only person who can handle that is Commander Riker. Either way, she's not happy.
Kill me.
The concept of being a compassionate lover seems to go rush over Dagon's head. Hey, I just had a thought. Any trans people born in Imboka, do they turn into seahorses? The
Damn.
locals have had just about enough of Paul's bullshit, but barely gets stopped from beating to death because he's actually...
Wait for the twist. Drum roll, please.
Yeah, I know it's coming. I know it's coming.
Thank you, Spaceballs the Minion.
The son of Camparo, aka the Squid Man in the Wilfred Brimley mask. He's the great-grandson of the captain who brought Dagon worship to the town and his new girlfriend's brother. His mother was from Imbica, but ran off to America when the incesty weirdness got a little bit too much for her.
Si, pai, si.
He has only one tentacle, father, but I believe it can grow.
I think I see the family resemblance. It's the tentacles.
It is really
I don't
not a
know.
good sign when I'm not sure if the old
I don't know.
leather skin mask is more crap looking than the shit it's
I
hiding.
don't know, it might be the hair.
You are my brother. You will be my lover. Forever.
Let's hope he's good at it then. Paul
What
reacts
in
to
the
his
fucky?
rampage of revenge, turning to utter defeat, turning to finding out he's a fish monster and destined for
What in the
incest in the most reasonable way
fuckery?
possible, really. By setting himself on fire. It's just a pity that his sister remembers that water can put out fire. It's the worst of all possible endings for him, really. Horribly burned,
Oh my god, you
world
go thanks for the
shattered,
bits.
his love dead, his life lost, and now he can't even fucking drown. Personally, I think he's only embracing his destiny so he can get his laptop back and become the aquatic Jeff Bezos.
He'll buy a 51%
Damn.
controlling stake in Dagon himself and pay the deep ones very, very poorly.
Hey, remember this bit from the start? Fucking symbolism! Oh, sorry. This is a classic Lovecraft movie. Not that it's perfect, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, but it's mainly accurate to the story, isn't shit, and it actually gets the feel right. When it comes to Lovecraft adaptations,
Yeah, I remember
they're
this movie. I just
amazing. As Stuart Gordon
I didn't catch the
Lovecraft
beginning of
adaptations
it.
go,
Like
it's
they were
easily
already in the
best except
town
for
by the
Reanimator.
time
I'm
I
happy with what we
started
got,
watching
but
it.
I really wish we could have seen it 20 years earlier with Combs and Crampton. One of my favourite elements might be
It was
Paul's
definitely,
realistic desperation in every action scene.
a trip.
He's a regular guy in a terrible situation. Just getting 5 feet is a victory, and that is straight out of the book. Shadow over Innsmouth would make a fantastic Alien Isolation-style survival horror game. One last thing, because I'll kick myself if I don't mention this, but Dagon wasn't a fish god. He was a fertility god that mainly concentrated on agriculture and grain. But at the time Lovecraft wrote the book, they hadn't worked that out yet.
Anyway, I'm DiamandaHagan.
Of course.
And
Of course.
Yeah. Cthulhu. Fahagen.
My favorite dish is fish, mother flipper. Eat it for the hell of it. A nice bit of halibut. That's not the only fish they
Oh my god, that was a fucking trip. Down memory lane as well. Like, I completely forgot about this movie. Yeah, there's not really like, a lot of full-on Cthulhu, Dagon, all that stuff movies that I can remember.
It's the killer condom, the rubber that rubs you out.
The killer condom, what the fuck?
Hello. My name is Diamanda Grace Jones Hagen.
Hi.
And I would like to talk to you today about minion starvation.
Minion
This
starvation?
minion
Oh
has
god.
not eaten in days and is currently grasping towards the camera because I've taped a sandwich to it.
Reviews very weird movies. Yeah, I got that impression. I got that impression.
Can you help? No, not really. But what you can do is check our Patreon and help the economy of Afghanistan in doing many incredible and important
Yes, this needs to be
things,
funded. This
such as buying a more
someone needs to
expensive
do this
sandwich
work.
to tape to the camera.
It needs to be done.
So please, join us in making this minion's life a little bit harder.
Oh my god. That was I don't even know. I mean, thanks for reminding me of that movie. That was a trip down memory lane. It was something. It was there's no words for it. Probably have to look up the Cthulhu Dagon language to find the words. Chant a little something something.